Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show, Wednesday book review. We've wasted too much of your time already. Please do forgive us. Please do forgive us. Please do forgive us. But, promise, it's going to be exciting on the show today. I won't waste any more of your time. Let me just dig in. This evening, we are continuing with, the series that we've been doing these past couple of weeks. The short stories that we've been reviewing. Tonight, we are reviewing just one, Badria and her husband. That's a story, a short story for this evening. And I am doing this review. I'm reviewing the short story with Benjamin Akaku. Hi, Ben.
I think if it weren't for COVID, I would have given you a high five.
I know.
We ought to set the right example on television. It's always fun to be here, yeah? Sometimes I get all, naughty and all that.
Yeah.
It's lovely being
lots of
here.
times you get naughty,
being away from my own book show and coming to your book show and learning a few things here and there. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming, Benjamin. It's
what would you do without me?
What would I do without you, Benjamin? Benjamin,
yes.
Badria and her husband.
Yes, so distant view of a minaret.
Yes.
And that's the one we're looking at tonight. It's a pretty interesting one. Simply put, it says a lot about this whole thing called LOVE, love. Whether it's really love. There are different shades of love. I think sometimes people get it twisted. And do you believe in love at first sight?
Yes.
Okay. Because we sort of see something similar in Badria and her husband, that story. It's a very interesting one, so I don't know whether you want me to start digging.
Please, go ahead. Just dig in.
Okay, so Omar is Badria's husband. There's her mother, that is Badria's mother, in the picture as well. And there are others in this household. And we hear from the start that there's this man gesticulating wildly, he's got the attention of people all around him, the buses are passing by, he's gesticulating and people are looking at him and laughing because they find him to be quite a mockery. He's grown lean, he's lost a lot of weight, and it's because he's just come out of prison. So, there's a lot of action going on, and then there's a butcher who comes by, shakes his hand, pumps his hand heartily, and up above, let's say some apartment block close by, there's Badria, who is this man's wife, and she's there with her mother, overseeing, seeing everything right from up above. And eventually this man, Omar, drags himself, climbs some stairs, he's groping, his wife can tell he's coming up. So she goes to meet him and all of that. He is drunk, like, you see how I said it? I didn't say drunk, I was like, he's drunk. And he finally gets to bed. It doesn't take long before he nods off. Should I go on? Because I'd reveal everything.
Really? Have you? I just want a summary. Like you are being very detailed.
Okay, so let me go with
you did summary in school, right?
LSS. I remember my LSS.
Okay, please. So
Okay.
Let's do summary.
So, in a nutshell, then Omar has just returned from prison. He comes back to his wife and family, you should say. They have some pretty good times together, but Badria, who is the wife, her mother is not in favor of this marriage, nor is Badria's uncle. They both tried convincing her that Omar is no good, that he's just a wastrel. He just wastes resources. He's one of those men, oh yeah, and I'm up to this and I'm up to that, and the future looks bright and oh boy, nothing to, he's just all mouth, all talk,
no action.
And no action. But Badria, no, she's in love, she's in love, and she keeps on with this guy. In the end, there's a very interesting bit at the end that I'm sure when we get there, we'll get to it. But something else that I might as well chip in. All of a sudden, Badria's mother gets all cozy, like bestie with Omar. And that is why I think she's up to something. Like,
you've been saying this, Benjamin.
to teach her daughter a lesson.
Get your mind out. Like that's not
No, but-
a book that suggests or encourages this.
I'll prove it. I'll back it with evidence.
You will back it with perception.
Okay.
No evidence.
All right.
Okay.
So that's in summary what the story is
Yeah,
about.
great summary. So let's look at the thing that you brought up, love at first sight. When they meet, because theirs is like that. They meet within weeks. They are talking. He proposes to her.
Yeah.
They are married. Like it all happened in a flash. They
It's
are
so very
married.
swift.
Too swift. He packs his stuff and he moves in with her.
And that's the interesting bit. Omar is that kind of person. He's a sweet talker. He's smooth. I'm sure I'm talking to someone out there. You probably have an Omar on your hands. Better watch out. Anyway, so...
But my thing is, right? So for Badria, this is love at first sight. It's not, and she compares it to the movies that she normally
She's
watches.
been watching quite a few films.
Yes, she's been watching some films. And she's like, oh, this is like, it's just like what I see in the films. People meet and they're in love and they're going. But is it the mom or the uncle say something very interesting to her? That this man is just somebody who wanted accommodation.
Yeah.
He just needed a place to live. And so
Yeah.
as soon as he met you, he could tell you have a place to live. Let's get married.
The uncle told her that, and, you know, he's an opportunist. Omar will seize the opportunity.
Okay. So now let's analyze this, Benjamin.
Okay.
Right? Let's analyze this.
Sure.
There's something to be said for love at first sight. Let's look at Chinua. No. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's
We always have to go there.
Half of a Yellow Sun, and how she meets her husband
Where she
in
is...
a queue.
Okay.
You know, you're going to buy, is it coffee? I can't remember the details. Something. We're in a queue going to get something. And this man stands up to the white guy or the racist, you know, forgive me for mixing up the details. But then she's in the queue and she's like, wow. And she's mesmerized by this man and who he is and his essence and all of that, right? There's something to be said for that. Which is love at first sight. I believe in that it's real, it happens. Don't argue, Benjamin. I'm being very dictatorial about my love.
I'm
You
not
argue about my
arguing.
love.
I'm just waiting to make a point.
And then there's, like you are saying, the opportunistic aspects of it, where somebody sees you and you take some boxes, right? Okay, so I'm looking for somewhere to stay. I'm looking for who feed me.
This is someone who looks like she can give me accommodation. She could probably buy stuff for me, keep me well fed. She looks gullible enough. I think I can work her.
Difference? How do you spot the difference?
I'm not a love
expert.
doctor. I'm not an expert, but I would say that there are certain telltale signs, and maybe if you looked well enough, you just might spot them. I think he took her for, I don't know whether she had earlier relationships.
Yeah,
it appears this is like it appears this is either her first, or it's one of
very
the
naive.
Exactly.
So she's been hurt badly.
And I feel he preyed on her. He realized, okay, as the brother Nigerians would say, this one Namugu, and he felt, okay, I can play a fast one on her, and he succeeded. So, but you were talking about love at first sight. I think one of the most mutual things, and if it's not, then it isn't love, is love. So, was it mutual? I don't think he loved her.
That's a good point.
I don't think he loved her.
So she might have
she
attracted
felt
to him.
Okay, this guy handsome. The story tells us he's good looking.
Yeah.
He's good looking. He's a fine guy.
Yeah.
So she fell for him. You can understand her. But the point is, was it love? I don't think he loved her. I think he merely used her.
Okay, so let's take it further, right? So the mom doesn't approve of this guy.
She doesn't.
The
She hates his
uncle-
guts. Like, put it the right. She hates his guts. She doesn't want to see him.
The uncle doesn't approve of this guy.
Nope.
He literally says to her, I mean, he asks for a meeting. He meets up with him. And after talking to him, he comes to the conclusion that no, this guy is just... Because he talks a lot. I'm going to do this. I'm going to build this. I'm working with this man at the moment. But I'm going to have a bigger shop than he has.
Yeah.
My shop is going to be like this.
Yeah.
It's going to have people.
Zaki's shop,
You
yeah.
know. And the uncle just says to her, he's all talk. But in her mind, he's an ambitious young man.
Yeah.
So everybody says to her, no. But she goes ahead with it. Let's look at this also for a minute. Because sometimes it works out.
In what sense?
There have been times when women have said, I don't care what you all are saying. I like him. I know what I see in him. I'm going ahead. And it works out.
And it works
out.
Well, here's the thing. One thing I've noticed, usually among maybe North Africans, because this setting is not all the Middle East and all of that, they tend to be pretty much as conservative as we are here in Africa. And if you, the family thing, the element of family plays a huge role in terms of whom you end up with, whether the family accepts the person. It's kind of like here, you know, you bring someone home, they'll give you the comments. If your family doesn't approve, believe you me, there's a whole lot of wahala coming your way if you go ahead with this person. You find it in this setting as well. But she was so insistent that she wanted Omar. I mean, twice. Her uncle tried to, you know, dissuade her from making this headlong, likely, foolhardy decision. First time he had come, told her, look, I spoke, and he had an interaction with Omar. Her uncle had an interaction with him and said, look, I'm a man. I've sized up this guy. He's up to no good. He won't take you anywhere. How about you just forget about him? We'll find something. And that was the first time. And then he gave her £5 as a wedding, you know, gift when she insisted she wanted him. And she went on with the wedding. Then, when he was taken to prison, Omar, he came back and said, look, now you see, he's a good for nothing. He's been put in prison. That's not to say prisoners are good for nothing, but
no, but he went to prison in a particularly terrible way.
Exactly. He's gone to prison. He's been sent to prison. And you have the opportunity to reshape your life. Look, there's a recent divorcee, a man, and he's just waiting for you to divorce Omar, come with him, live. I mean, you've made a mistake. Rectify it. Remedy the situation. She says, no, I love my Omar. And, you know, what better way to show your love than to stand by
him. When he's going through adversity.
I wish I could have entered the story and told her, hey, John Melody, look at not reason now. But, you know, again, her uncle comes back. And you can see her uncle has a very good head screwed onto his
no, I love
He's brutal.
Uncle.
He just faces the facts.
Uncle.
So he comes to her again and says, look, this is what I'm offering you. This divorcee is around. He can give you this. And I love my Omar. He says, okay. Gives her another £2. And, you know, that's it. Like, hey. But anything else that happens, it's on you.
Hair on the forehead. That's why I'm saying that I like the uncle. Because in as much as he's constantly telling her truth, you know, he has the love that tells her that she's like, no, don't do this. This is wrong. I think you're making a mistake. He never takes his love away because she's making a mistake. His love is always constant. You're making a mistake, but I still love you. So he would still hug her. He would still give her things. But hey, you're making a mistake. And I really, really appreciated that about him. Because there are a lot of people who would say, you're making a mistake, divorce him, come and marry this guy. No, okay, I'm done with you. But he's not like that.
He acted kind of like, you know, whom he reminded me of there? God.
Oh.
You know why?
Yeah, we sin all the time.
God hates sin but loves the sinner. So he won't throw you away unless, of course, your time runs out and you're still... But he hates what you're doing. Know. I felt it too, that point where he kisses her. This is a grown-up woman, but uncle, you know, he almost as though to say, hey, I love you. Can't you see I'm trying to guide you on the right path?
You're a silly girl, but I still love you.
Yeah. It was emotional when it got to that point. But I can't help but also sort of commend Badria on the kind of love
I was going to say
she shows. It is foolish. It is foolish love. It's not love, you know, situated in the right place. She's being used. It's totally evident. And at the end, when we get to the end, when not Omar, there's a woman who sells cigarettes. Cigarettes. Her name just escapes me. Gaber. Gaber. Now, the things she says, I don't want to put the cart before the horse or start like let everyone know the end from now. But the things she says finally, you know, jolts Badria into some reality. And you can tell from the very last line of the story that she probably might have those scales, you know, fall
Literally
off her
dropping
eyes.
off her
But
eyes.
for now, she is so drunk, maybe borrow Beyonce's crazy in love, that...
Drunk in love.
Drunk in love, if you like. She's so
I was just about
drunk
to
in
sing
love
for you, Benjamin.
that... just hold it now. I don't want to get... She's so drunk in love that, you know, it just consumes her. She can't even see. She can't even see. And Gaber, at the end, tells her, the wife is always the last one to know.
Yes.
Is it true, though?
Yes.
How do you know?
I'm a wife, Benjamin.
It's crazy, but... You know,
No, because
they always say that
we
about...
want to see the best in people, don't we? We always want to see the best in people, like all the time. And especially when you love somebody and you've made a choice. You see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
When you haven't made the choice, and this is where I think she made a mistake. Yeah. When you haven't made the choice, you have every opportunity to look at what you are going for, review, and open your eyes, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But once you make the choice, now you have to accept the choice that you made.
No,
and
by
make
the time
most...
you make the choice, you've accepted it already.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Now it's just that situation
make the
where...
most of the situation you're in.
Yeah.
You see, so you're always looking for the best in that. I mean, of course you can see the flaws. Yeah. You can't see the flaws, but you want to see the best in the person. You want to keep it going.
It's the perfect set of flaws you've chosen anyway.
Yes, so live with it. Yeah. But here I want to bring up Michelle Obama.
And let me just add this. I think it's not just for the women, it's for the men as well.
Oh, absolutely. It works both ways.
The husband is always the last to when the woman is cheating.
Ways.
They always try in their minds to find every,
first of all, most men don't think it's possible for women to cheat. Let's just appreciate
in our
that.
setting, yes.
Yeah.
They
most
think,
men
oh,
can't think about it. Oh, why would she cheat on me? Glorious me.
But nowadays it's becoming much more common.
Well, I hope
and
it becomes
people are
more common.
awakening. You hope it does?
Yes, because we have a culture that accepts for a man to cheat, and we have a culture that dilutes itself that a woman can't cheat. So if men appreciate the fact that she can cheat, perhaps men would act better and act right.
They'll think straight, yeah?
Sorry?
They'll start thinking straight.
They will sit up straight and be like, okay, I can't do this to her all the time and think that she's some piece of wood.
Yeah.
She's a human being. If I can cheat, she can cheat too. And men would perhaps
we're swaying into
better.
a conversation, that just might become...
it could become
you know, they say what men can do, women can do better. So if men can cheat, women can cheat better.
And I think that women actually do cheat better.
Really?
Yes,
I think women cheat smarter.
Better.
Not better, but smarter.
Better.
Smarter.
Better.
No, a woman can cheat for years, and if the guy, if you not shine your eye, you will never. But a guy, usually there are telltale signs: a hickey here, a kiss there, some CDs in some pocket, maybe some.
Better.
Shouldn't get into those, but.
but I was saying, right, that the person who comes to mind in all of this is Michelle Obama, only because I think. First of all, I think that love is a risk, full stop.
Big.
Love is a risk. You know, most people approach it not from the emotional, most people are logical about it. So, for instance, I want a man who is this, I want a man, so like we have things that we take, I want this, I want that, I want that. And I think that's very logical. You know, and so when you meet somebody, you're looking to tick those boxes. Is he this? What's his background? What does he do? You know, where does he come from? Where is he going? And we are taking, I hope you understand what I'm saying. We are taking boxes. For me, that's very logical. Most of us don't approach love from emotions. Like I've seen, ooh, I'm dying, I want him. We don't do that. Because we think that when we approach it logically, we lessen the risk. Right? And I think that either way is a risk.
It is.
Whether you approach it logically or you approach it emotionally, I think that either way ways.
Do you think Badria was too much on the
I'm coming to it.
Fanciful, dreamy end?
That's why I'm thinking Michelle Obama. Because when she met Barack Obama, the man had a car that had a big hole in it.
Yeah.
Like he had a huge hole.
You'd be going and you'd actually take it.
Yes, you have to look down and, you know, be sure that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he wasn't Barack Obama. There was no way, you know, you tell presidency on this man when she met him.
No, he was just Bar at the time. The Barack and Obama.
No, the Barack and That's a good one. He was just back when she
was
met him.
just back.
She added the rack.
Later, the rack and the Obama case.
So yeah, but you understand my point. So it was a risk for her to take. And I'm sure that at the time, if she had listened to people's opinions, she wouldn't have been with him. Because she was doing better for herself.
She was his senior. I mean,
yes,
she was
doing better
she was at the firm.
Yes,
he was just, was it an intern?
He had just
he was
come
now
in.
coming
She was
and all of that.
sort of overseeing his activities in the firm. Yeah. So if she had listened to people, for instance, her girlfriends, what are you doing with him? She would not have gone ahead to marry him. So there's something to be said for that. However, I feel that what Badria fails to do is be calculated about the huge leap she took. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like, she just jumped in.
You're making a lot of sense. Now, she took the risk.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
You've taken
Take
the risk. But you know what she did afterwards? She shut her eyes, shut her mind, and she was just, oh, I'm in my perfect world.
She didn't even
and
allow herself to know the man.
Omar was looking at her like, okay, this is perfect. I've got just the thing I need. And basically, she just allowed herself to be walked over by Omar.
Absolutely.
In terms of the romantic,
absolutely. Because again, I'll come back to Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, and talk about when you read her book, she tells you exactly at what point she felt, okay, this could work. I feel you should come to a point where you're like, okay, this makes it okay. This makes it all right. Like, she judged him. Okay, he has a good brain. Because she knew from the beginning she liked him. Listen, before she got to work that day, she had gone to check out the guy's page over the internet, found out what he looked like, all of that.
Michelle.
So, let's be real. She liked him.
But she had checked out his, details from what had been brought to her, but there was no internet.
Oh, she liked him. She liked him. She liked him. She had checked him out. From what would be today's internet? She had checked him out.
She had checked him out.
She checked him out.
I'm sure she, when you were talking about it, I was just thinking, okay, that's fine. Skin guy. Yeah. It's just the ears, though. The ears on Obama.
Nobody asked you. Benjamin, nobody asked you.
Those ears, they look like they could help him fly. I'm sorry, but he's one of my favorite presidents, but the ears, oh wow. Anyway, so I wonder whether, coming back down to this story, whether Omar had any of those flaws, physical flaws, because he's painted as this fine guy.
He's a good-looking guy.
Good-looking guy.
He's a good-looking
just
guy
without the right, he has, but he's a bit of a fool. Do you notice that?
Yeah.
It's written there that, where Badria's mother talks about the fact, he got into prison because he had stolen.
Yes.
And
something very worthless, like a tie or something.
And it prompted Badria's mother to say, if you'd steal, steal a camel. In other words, steal something valuable. You go and steal something, and you end up in prison. And so he's not exactly bright. But he's found someone who is likely equally daft, and he is maybe dafter.
Okay, so
he plays her so well. It's like
Benjamin,
a piano.
Benjamin, here's the thing, and I think that for us as ladies, sometimes we are guilty of. I don't know about you guys. I can't speak for. I've never been a guy, so I can't.
No. Speak for yourself.
Yes, I speak for myself.
The guys will speak for ourselves.
Hopefully, I'm making sense to my gender as well. Sometimes when you see a good-looking human being, we tend to stay there and not look behind the screen
to find out what the flaws are.
What is behind this? Okay, so this is a good-looking human being. This is an attractive person. Okay, got that. But beyond that, does he have a beautiful brain too? Does he have character? Is he loyal? Is he hardworking? All of these things. And I had one elderly woman say to me once, and I was really young. No, not that young. I must have been in the university. She said to me, the biggest thing to look out for in a partner is a helper, right? And she said most women never look out for a helper.
Most women never look out
for a helper. Like,
it depends on the context.
Yeah, but she said it's very important because at the end of the day,
in our context, women think they are the helper.
There you go.
And the man mustn't help. Look, I'll always cite myself as an example. I always say it. I love children. and I easily, whenever I've had to do so, though I don't have children of my own, I would easily change diapers, feed them. I'm used to those things, maybe because of the things I've done, and I Sunday school teacher things. But most men wouldn't do that, and most women don't even expect them to do that in this context. It's now that we have more and more women thinking, hey, you must also help out at home, baby duties and all of that. But I feel it's a psychological mechanism for some people, what Badria did. So I just see what I like, and maybe what I like is merely a fine person. He looks good. That's my standard. But I have other standards, but I don't want to know, because if I do get to know, it's likely I will not like him. So in order not to shatter my dreams, I will not let me stay here. Let me stick to the surface. But in doing that, she eventually burnt her own fingers.
Let's talk about this for a little bit.
I feel that was foolish.
Very foolish. Let's talk about this for a little bit. I think that we do a disservice to good-looking people all the time. Like, we don't require them to be anything but good-looking. Like, we let them get away with everything, literally, because they look good. For instance, if you have kids, babies, right? People would naturally sort of gravitate towards the good-looking baby. Everybody wants to hold that child,
it's a sad
play
truth.
with the child.
Sad truth.
Right? And so at the end of the day, we don't require good-looking people to develop other aspects of their personalities.
Remember elections back in school? I never did vote, but people would, the guys sometimes would, oh yeah, he's a nice, oh Charlie, this one, the girls go vote give him. When they go to Volta Hall and do their, you ask some of them, oh, please, it's true. I intentionally went there. You go and they talk about, oh, why are you going to vote for him? What policy does he have on board? Well, me, I don't know, but he's a fine guy, so I'll vote for him.
Please, no Voter Hall girl did that.
Should I call some of those who should I call them?
Listen, no Voter
like live on the show
did that. We don't do that. Please. We take exception to what you're trying to insinuate.
It's not an insinuation, it's a fact. You know it. And not just Volta Hall. All the other, calls did it.
True. We
it's so
give men that listen, I met somebody, I've forgotten at which point in my life, very handsome guy, Benjamin, like very handsome guy. And we became friends, and as we engaged more and more and more, I just thought to myself, wow, how sad. He always referenced his looks, right? You'll be talking to him, the next minute he's talking about how good looking he is, and how he went here and this happened. It's like that's all there was about him. Full stop.
Looks.
It was beginning and the end. Like, literally. There was nothing more there. The guy had developed nothing else. He hadn't developed his brain, hadn't developed his personality, hadn't developed nothing. Full stop, I'm handsome. That's it, beginning and the end. And you would find people who would go along with that and stay there. And I feel like when we do that, we do a disservice to good-looking people, right?
That's someone
require them. So oftentimes,
no, but who should do what requiring what?
Oftentimes, you find
no one comes to do your work for you. I'm just imagining
people have the best personalities. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm just imagining this good-looking guy you met, building his brain, like being, and everybody comes here with a treasure trove of talent. I'm just not, sometimes we sell ourselves so short, and that's a classic example you just gave. Oh, I'm fine, so what? There's a saying that, you can have your way with words, you can have the gift of the gab and all of that. You go somewhere, you're talking, everyone is like, oh, he speaks so well. But after saying that, you better know something, because you can't speak so well for so long, and then the people will start thinking, okay, you've spoken well for a bit now, what else do you have in your coconut? So I don't think it's you don't push anyone to develop themselves or to be the best version of themselves. It's up to each one of us, to
be
get
the best that we
to
can
get to that point. I push myself. I do so many things, and even now I'm contemplating, after one of the programs I'm doing, taking some other things that are nowhere near my usual sphere of activity or comfort zone. But that's it. I push myself to good looks, money, whatever, it all fades away. There are things
You have to have some extras.
You have to have some extras.
And you have to consciously develop those extras. Consciously.
And let me chip in this. COVID-19, for example, has blown, wide open a lot of people who felt businesses and all of that. You need a lot of extras. You need to have your tentacles everywhere it's said that nowadays you must run as fast as you can just to remain right where you are. At the spot where you are. You must run so fast just to remain where you are.
Now that you say that, let's look at this thing about ambition. Because this guy is supposed to be an ambitious guy, right? He talks big. He knows what to say.
Should we share his dreams? Should we share his dreams?
Share his dreams.
So he's inherited land. And there's this Zaki. Zaki owns a coffee shop. He's doing pretty well, but it's, the seats are on the way. It's poor people, ordinary people, laborers and the rest who come there. And, Omar, when he met Badria, he's telling her, I'm going to, do some it is. And after the when I get something, the land, I'm going to develop it. I'm going to set up a cafe of my own, but it's not going to be like Zaki's, streets cafe. No, this is going to be the ish, all the, the wonderful people, the elite in society. Not say. And it was all vibes.
Let's talk about his other dream also. When he comes back from prison, what's that dream? He's met up with somebody in prison.
Oh yeah. So you see, and that's a telltale sign for anyone watching us. It's good to dream, but some people, it's just pipe dreams. Pipe dreams, they don't get you anywhere. It's just like everyday dream. Masa.
Venture after
when will
venture
you ever
after venture after. So I have this plan. So I'm going to do this.
You know the sad thing? Some people, especially women, fall for that for years, decades. They're just till someday. That's why sometimes I've read stories of women divorcing at 70, 60 something, and people ask, you've been in it for so long. It just hits them that, you know what, all of this that I've been living has been a scam. I've just been, and I get the feeling if Badria hadn't met Gaber, she would have lived a scam for a long time.
But Ben, here's the thing, right? Again, it's good to dream. It's good to have ambitions and visions, especially now that everybody's an entrepreneur. It's great to have all these ideas that you want to work on. My thing is, in the meantime, you need to eat, right? So as you are working towards, and normally what happens is that the women fund these visions and dreams and the men just stay dreaming, right? In all of these, circumstances, you find that the man is a dreamer. He's dreaming of visions, and I'll do this, and I'll do that, and I'll build this, and I'll do that. And he's doing nothing. He's just there dreaming and dreaming. But she has to do the mundane thing of finding a regular job that will keep them feeding up until his dream becomes a reality. My thing is, it's your dream, but still work. Find something that would give us something to eat today. While you dream, I will never stop your dream. Keep dreaming.
No, but you don't get it.
No, I don't.
That's why it's a scam. You see, the whole dream thing he's talking about, that's the work. Are you getting it?
He's working.
No. The dream, in this second instance, when he comes back from prison, there's this guy I've met, he's coming to pick me in a car, and he has a proposal, I'm going to work with him, I'll get money, and then I'll fulfill the first dream. So second dream helping me fulfill the first dream. The second dream itself, the whole bit about this guy from prison who is a big shot, and it's a scam. You
know what annoys me about the second dream? Let me tell you what really annoyed me about the second dream. So this guy's supposed to be some hot shot, right? Yeah. So he's going to meet this hot shot. And she can afford this brand of cigarettes because it's cheaper. He's like, no. This big shot needs the very expensive brand of cigarettes.
You know why he said that? So he wanted Marlboro, right?
Yes.
And it comes with some swag.
But she has to pay for your swag.
He wants, when he goes to see this guy, to say that, I don't smoke cheap cigarettes. This is Marlboro. Dude,
but she's
make an
paying
impression.
For it.
Yeah, well, she paid for her foolishness in the end. just the way it is.
Right? So for me, in the meantime, as you're working towards your dream, live within your means, work to make some, just a little enough to keep us going. So I don't have to be the one to pay for your dreams all the time. And here,
do you know what you're missing out of the equation?
Please tell me.
The love element. She was head over heels in love with this guy.
I never thought I'd say this, but you can't eat love. But the hopeless romantic that I am, I never thought I would say this, but it comes to a point where we need to eat. So let me work, you work too. For now, as we are working towards, that ultimate dream, let's support ourselves, on the low, and then make it happen as we. I don't know if I'm making sense. I was going to reference this movie that was so popular very recently. Was it Acrimony? It had
We're thinking the same. I was just about to say, do you remember that Tyler? It was Tyler Perry,
yeah, Tyler
right?
Perry.
Yeah,
Tyler Perry. It had Taraji P. Henson.
But you see, in that instance, when I started watching that movie, it's so, what a coincidence, telepathy, you would say. But when I started watching it, I hated the guy. I was like, this guy is just taking advantage. What kind of dude is this? I wish I could go in there and give him a hefty slap, Then he actually makes good on his dream, and he gives, because you remember he squandered the woman's money, like a fortune, almost close to $1 million or so, and he gives her a huge sum of money, and I'm beginning to think, okay, and then it starts playing out that while she felt he had been cheating, he had actually not been cheating, and all of that, and then she becomes the sickle.
I actually don't like that movie, if I'm being completely honest.
I love it. I love
like the movie.
Making you think this way, and then at the tail end, totally off.
Let it slide.
I like, okay, we have our differences.
Okay.
We can have our differences on this one. But I'm saying that it doesn't always pan out that way. You see that in that movie, the man, you could have said he was Omar's type. First of all, he had cheated at a point. You squandered her entire fortune, almost $1 million. And it almost appeared he was cheating, only for us to find out later he wasn't cheating. He had a good heart, good enough to give her many times more what he had got from her or squandered from her in pursuing his dream, and that he had actually loved her. You remember when, why are we talking about the movie?
Exactly. Let's come back to the book.
But the bit is this. If you want to do love at first sight, I don't know. I don't know whether I've not fallen in love at first sight. Don't give me that. But do you want me to walk away?
I'm not going to say anything. Please go ahead.
All right. That's good. Anyway, love at first sight. I don't know whether it's a healthy thing to do, honestly. It's not good for your health. I don't know. Because it does sort of stuff to you. It does stuff to you. No. It's not good for your health. Look at how Badriya ended up. Sad. But in the end, it's so sad because she's broken.
She's broken.
When you read
the last towards the end, right?
She's I mean, Gabir speaks to her and it finally hits her. Oh damn. And do you know what the most painful part about these things?
Tell me.
It's not the fact that the person has done it all. It's the fact that everyone knew.
Except
but you. They played you like it's the most painful thing because everyone, while you were walking, people were looking like, and they keep looking at you and but no one tells you. But that also says something about human beings.
But I mean,
you can't just poke your nose. You can't just poke your nose into someone's marital affair. But that's family. Have you noticed how when it comes to some of these things, you don't want to listen to family? You think family just doesn't get it? You need someone else to hit you like, hey, sister. Nah.
Slippery slope.
Nah, this one. Sloppy asleep. Omar was just, that guy was just toxic.
But who was that then between Omar and her mom?
Okay, so I get the feeling, I think at a point in time, the mom felt, okay, you want to play like that? You like this guy? Okay, I'll play along. You think I don't like him just because? I'll play along with him. I'll cozy up to him.
I disagree with you,
Ben. But over time, He's going to act in certain ways. It's going to cost you, my daughter. And then you will come to the realization that...
I think she started to like him once she gave him a chance. Benjamin.
You think so?
I think so.
Really and truly?
Yes, really and truly. I think that for people like that, they need to have a certain charm about them for the scam to work. You can't expect...
He had never succeeded in charming Badriya's mother. Not from the start, not from before he went to prison.
When he came back from prison, he had had enough time to re-scheme and plot and think through things and come back stronger and, you know, more... what's the word? I can't find a word. So let's say prepared. Better prepared to deal with her. He knew she didn't like him. He knew that. And she knew her not liking him was not good for business. So, I mean, when he was in prison, perhaps he re-strategized. The man came back making coffee for her, patting her back, all of that, having the best jokes.
I'll tell you what. Do you know what the strategy really was?
What?
When you read that portion, it talks about the fact that he made coffee for her.
Yes.
And after coffee, everything was crisp, smooth right after that.
Don't do that.
No, but
don't rewrite the book. Don't write into the book.
No, but
do a revised
do you realize?
edition.
Okay,
don't remix the book.
Let me read this portion for you. Now, on returning from work at 5 o'clock, Badriya found Omar sitting alongside her mother on the bed while the two laughed. Surprise, surprise. Played cards and smoked. She was surprised, for she had never seen her mother in such a good mood. He made me some really excellent coffee, said the old woman, laughing. It's as though he put something into it. Honestly, I didn't, ma, he said, laughing and looking at Badriya. The stuff's really expensive these days. The bit of hashish or opium we were able to get hold of in prison wasn't enough to make one high after we had divided it up among us. Dude slipped some opium into the thing. Dude slipped hashish into her coffee.
Oh, Benjamin.
Poor woman was high. He kept slipping, opium, hashish into her coffee. And she kept getting high and thinking, oh, this guy, he's the thing, I cannot spike in hours a day. He spiked her coffee.
Really?
Even she suspected, because this guy, he's not good. Like, he is
Benjamin,
toxic.
Really? Please.
He put the thing in her coffee.
He didn't put anything in her coffee. I just think that he was nicer to her. He was nicer to her.
Well,
and that thing happens
it's a story.
A lot.
Maybe we have to meet the author and find out from her.
Yeah, maybe. Because it happens when you have, when there's a bit of tension between two people, or they don't have like a really great relationship, over time, people get tired. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to keep beef. I don't know about anybody else, but for me it is. It gets to a point where you're just tired of the whole thing, and you're happy for it to go away. So if he makes a nice gesture towards you, why not? It's okay. I mean, we've been fighting for how long? I don't like you, but he's married to your daughter. I see you every day.
I think it was...
It's okay.
Far too sudden, too... even in the normal sense.
I agree.
If you want to start warming up, I think it would be a bit slow. Gradual. But this one is more like, bam, like, we're enemies today, we're the, besties forever tomorrow. And it's like, what happened? Yeah. See why I'm telling you opium happened?
Or perhaps mother and daughter have the same flaw.
Nah, woman was too smart. Perhaps the mother was far too smart.
Mother and daughter have the same flaw. Perhaps mother and daughter have the same flaw.
I didn't.
Perhaps
I didn't
they
see
are
that.
very what's the word? Spontaneous. Maybe you don't think so.
Well, it could be.
It's possible,
right? It could have been.
Okay, so now let's look at this thing about. Oh, I miss Petra. I don't like talking about this with you, Benjamin. Intimacy.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Intimacy in the marriage, because it's completely missing, right, between the wife and the husband. I really wish Petra was
you don't like talking intimacy matters with me.
No, not Benjamin.
You know where I'll go. Okay.
Right, but it's missing in the marriage, Benjamin.
Well, it's
completely missing in the marriage.
Two things we get to see. Omar is promiscuous. He's not faithful. And Badriya doesn't see that until, you could say Omar she's married him and everything. She's locked down, lock, stock and barrel and all of that. So he's basically messed her up. though there's still life after Omar.
And they haven't been married for that long.
They've not been married for that. They're young. They're pretty young. And the other aspect of it, if you noticed reading, you'd realize that there was a point when, though he's coming in late and all of that, he accused his wife to her mother when she asked, hey, so when are you two even going to give me a grandchild? And the wife is not there, mind you. Badria is working when her mother poses this question to Omar. And Omar says, well, ask your daughter. She doesn't even have time.
Bold-faced lie. A bold-faced lie. Because that's not the truth.
But in a way, it wasn't true, but in another sense, because she's also coming in late and all of that. But when you read that portion, you realize that it was pretty upsetting when Badria heard of it. And she began even questioning her body, whether she was still attractive. Because when he came, if you remember, the first night after he had returned from prison, he looks at her and he lulls to sleep almost immediately because he's so drunk. He's in a,
and she had waited up for him.
But
she had waited up for him.
He looks at her and says, you look just like, back then. And it gives her some, you haven't changed. It gives her some assurance, but sometimes, look, let me ask, why do we deceive ourselves as human beings? Because I get the feeling, at the time he was saying this, she knew, say, you are not looking like your original self. You don't look like you were before.
He hasn't been in prison for long, Benjamin.
Yet she accepted it.
No, I disagree.
And she was all,
He hadn't been in prison. It's possible she looked the same. It's very possible she looked the same.
I disagree.
He hadn't been in prison for long.
We don't know how long exactly he had been in prison. But you get the feeling that it was long enough for her to have remarried, settled down, done something with her life that she didn't. That's the idea given by her uncle, who came to her with. I mean, I feel he was in the camp for a while.
And I'll give you somebody else. Leave him and give me somebody else. Doesn't mean he's been there forever.
But it sounded as though look, from the picture I get, he wouldn't have been there for less than a year and a half, 2 years. That's a long time.
I disagree.
On what?
What? I disagree. I mean, it doesn't say, right? The book doesn't give us a specific time.
Look at the timeline. Look at the things that happen, even the experiences and all of that. That doesn't happen within like 3 months. Well, that's just me.
Okay. Got it. We have a few minutes to leave. Okay, Benjamin, what would you say is the biggest theme of this book? You think you've addressed it already?
Well, there's love, there's deceit.
Love and deceit. Love and deceit.
Love on the part of Badria. She's actually in love. She's just falling for the wrong guy. Deceit on the part of Omar. And I think I'll stretch it and say deceit on the part of the entire community in which they find themselves. There's something I don't understand. I'm a pretty open, straightforward person. Here in Ghana, and I'll come back to them, but here in Ghana, have you noticed if you spilled something on your dress and you walked out, maybe this setting someone might tell you, but out there, people will see, people will engage you and all of that. Rarely would people tell you, oh, you spilled something on your... Have you noticed that?
I have noticed
maybe your collar is off, it's set up wrong or something. We tend to be very hypocritical in that, Miss Romihu, but let some lady dress in a certain... That one, dear, people will want to, talk about it, and that's the same thing happening here. Everyone sees it, and Gabir, at the end, though she says something, I feel you could have prevented quite a lot. I mean, if you had just spoken up a tad earlier and told the little girl, look, well, not so little girl, this is what is going on. When he goes out claiming he's going to that person, he's actually just philandering. He's just going around with so many other women and blah, blah, blah. No one tells her. And that hit me. The deceit is not just on the part of Umar, it's on the part of the entire community.
Well,
I feel they had ganged up.
Told us that Zulfi
Well, you could say that, but in the end, then don't tell me anyway. I should have just found out on my own. But Gabir spills the beans. I feel she should have smacked her on the mouth and said, you knew this all the time and you never told me anything.
You never told me. Biggest lesson, our time is up, Benjamin. What's the biggest lesson Benjamin, you are yet to get married. So what's the biggest lesson you're taking from this book?
That's quite a bit you've put out there, but there's always another show for me to get at you. You know, you think this is the end, so you can jab me and
were
get
you
away
trying to
with
let the
it.
viewers think you are married? Like, I'm confused here. What did I
No,
say
I
that
never
nobody
said
knows?
that, but
Like,
the way
have
you
I
just
said something that
you
I'm
just
not
dropped me
supposed
like a
to
bomb in
say?
the middle of the. Okay.
Why
That's
are
a
you
good
deceiving
one.
people you are married?
Petra, if
Benjamin?
you're watching, note that this means war. I think there's a book or a movie with that title.
No, seriously, Benjamin, what did I say?
Nothing. It cut me to the
Because
heart.
I said you are not married. Oh, Ben.
No, that's the reality, isn't it?
Yes, so I'm shocked that you are upset
It's the way
about
you
this
said it.
simple fact.
It's the way you said it.
Forgive me that I said you are not married. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I won't say
By
again
the
that
way,
you are not married.
Alma desperately wants you to get married, so she's doing this intentionally. But my
So
lesson...
please, if you are watching us, he's not married.
I'm rather picky, though, so you might... the lesson that I'm picking from this book... Can I get to my lesson finally?
Please.
Is don't take things at face value.
Okay. Don't take things at face value.
Don't just... You know, the thing that they say, don't judge a book by its cover. She judged Omar by his cover. Fine boy cover. But the character, the guy was just a playboy, 419er. In fact, that guy, he had progressed past 419. He was 410. He was just too much. You know, he scammed her. Kojoto finished her. So don't take things at face value. Like, look deeper, especially when it comes to things like relationships, and not to talk of even marriage. I mean, it's a risk.
Full stop.
It's a risk, but you don't go and stand in the middle of the street and say, I trust in God, so hey, God day for me. You know, you must use your head. So even whatever you do in life, take risks, yes, but also add some prudence.
Calculated risk. Let it be a calculated risk.
Risks.
Let it be a calculated risk. Love you too, Benjamin. Well, this has been our show, guys. This has been our show. Petra, Mimi, Victor, Kwabna. I mentioned everybody's name. You guys, we missed you, right? We missed them, Benjamin.
They're scammers. They scammed us tonight.
You guys are scammers, right? But thank you to the viewers, not the scammers. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you for watching. Thank you, for watching. And we will stay on this book. So please, if you can grab it, it has amazing short stories in here with very deep lessons for everyone. Doesn't matter your age, your class, whatever. I trust me on this one, that if you read this book, you would have something for yourself. So if you could, what's the title again, Benjamin?
So, Distant View of a Minaret.
Distant View of a Minaret. If you can grab it, please do. I understand it's just about 20-something. It's not even up to 30 cities. Distant View of a Minaret.
And it's by Alifa Rifat. Alifa
Rifat. So grab it and read along. We've been reviewing the short stories about 2 weeks now. We still have a lot of short
so many
stories
of them. So
go.
Not too late to catch up.
Not at all. So if you could grab it. It's old. It's set in where very interesting.
The Middle East. Well, North Africa.
North Africa. Yeah. Very relatable. Even now, the stories are very relatable. It's fresh, it's interesting. And let's catch up every Wednesday on the book review edition of the show. Thank you for coming, Benjamin. Thank you for watching us. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.